Hello and welcome to Dice Sagas. We're a channel that focuses on Age of Sigmar, board games, hobby hangouts, and Middle-earth strategy battle game. So this battle saw a 650 point game. I was playing as Rohan, my opponent was playing as Mordor. Now this is my third time playing as Rohan and my opponent's third time playing as Mordor, and I've won one, drawn one, and yes, you'll see what happens in the third game. So as I said, we went with a 650 point game. I went as Theoden, so I should say I took Theoden, he was my leader, whilst my opponents chose the Witch King on a Fell Beast. My Rohan army consisted of Theoden mounted, 4 riders of Rohan and 6 Royal Guard on foot. So that was my first warband. My second warband was Gamling mounted with the banner and 4 riders of Rohan, and the third warband consisted of Eomer mounted with 4 riders of Rohan. Now my opponents had the Witch King on a Fell Beast. He also took a Troll and Shagrat, and I believe there were 2 units of 10 Morannon Orcs also. So yes, quite a difficult list, I believe, with the Witch King fighting against the Witch King on a Fell Beast. Pardon the pun, but such a beast of a character. And Shagrat hits like a tank as well, so... But obviously being mounted, it did benefit us slightly, I suppose, being mounted. But yeah, I think it's a list to be quite concerned of, especially with the Troll as well, of course. So yeah, for Rohan, maybe not the best matchup, but when has that ever stopped Rohan from charging him, right? So let's get to it. So the scenario we were playing was Scenario 7, Seize the Prize. Now the objective is for one of us to actually dig the prize, which is artifacts as such, within the centre of the board. And yes, all my folks are mounted, so I'm glad I did bring some Rohan Royal Guard with me. And yeah, so on a 4+, I believe it is. Yes, indeed, it is 4+. So on a 4+, you free the artifact, obviously on a roll of 1 dice, and if you fail, then sod's law, you have to obviously try again next time. So you'll score 3 victory points if you have the artifacts on your side of the board by the end of the game, 5 victory points if you have it on your opponent's side of the board, and 7 if you walk it off the edge of your opponent's board. You score 1 victory point for causing wounds or more wounds on the enemy leader. Wounds prevented by successful fate do not count. If you kill the enemy leader, you instead score 2 victory points. You score 1 victory point if the enemy force is broken at the end of the game. If the enemy force is broken and your force is unbroken, you instead score 3 victory points. So as it was, my opponents did beat me on priority and took the first turn, and Shagrat and the Witch King went to the left flank, whilst the Troll headed to the right flank, followed by the Morannon Orcs on either side. There were some Morannon Orcs ready up heading towards the centre of the board as well, because of course that's where the artifact was. Now the Witch King is always going to be fearful of, so with my cavalry I did do some repositioning, and in truth I did a very, very bad job of this. Theoden and Gamling, why didn't I put them at the front? I do not know. And yeah, so very, very poor positioning by me, massive lessons learned already. However, I did send my cavalry a bit further forward, along with Eomer and his 4 riders Rohan on the right flank, heading towards the Witch King. Now the Witch King did cast darts towards Eomer, however I did manage to resist it using up my will. So in return I did decide to obviously fire everything I've got. Some towards the Witch King, the rest of it against the Orcs, and not a single wound or kill. So yes, a lot of shooting and not much death in this round of volley. My Royal Guard did move up the centre towards the artifacts. So on to round 2, my opponents then took the initiative yet again, so debating whether to charge in his Witch King against my 4 riders of Rohan and Eomer. I did not know this, but it was a bluff. It was a bluff indeed. So my opponents chose to go to the left flank with the Witch King, and I took the bait with Eomer and the riders, looking to get the charge off, looking to finish off the King. Of course, Witch King, and of course that wasn't to be. My opponent did some heroic moves and managed to get the Witch King out of there and headed back towards the centre of the battle so he can have more influence. And of course, beforehand, he did cast Transfix on Éomer, but again managed to resist his spell. However, that left Éomer with no will whatsoever. Grim tidings. The rest of his forces moved towards the centre to try and claim the objective. He did manage to get to the artifact before me, but it wasn't to be. He did roll under 4, which was obviously good news for himself. It gave my Royal Guard a chance to then go and charge in on the right flank with the Troll and the Orcs. They did move up a bit further, not really caring for the charge because, yeah, Rohan are good at charging, of course. However, the Orcs, Moran and Orcs are pretty beastly, and with a Troll as well, it was a bit scary, to say the least. Yeah, so he moved up, and I then managed to counter, so then I charged in with Theoden and Gamling, along with my Riders of Rohan on both flanks, being a lot more successful on my right flank than it was my left. On the left flank, with the Troll, I didn't kill, I think I must have killed about 2 Orcs or so. And then, of course, as the battle continued, the Troll decided to flank, and yes, absolutely decimated my Riders of Rohan. It was, yeah, that was painful to receive. Meanwhile, Gamling and Theoden managed to slay a few Orcs in the centre. The Riders of Rohan on the right flank managed to then squeeze in and continue to do some more damage. So now with Éomer looking to continue the charge up the field, it did not happen. The Witch King cast Transfix, and it didn't leave me with much options with no will. So yeah, Éomer was Transfix. However, the Riders of Rohan continued their charge again, having some success on the right flank, but coming up against an impassable wall again of Moran and Orc flesh and steel, and the Troll hitting hard yet again on the flank. Hoping to overrun and drive home the charge, Theoden and Gamling broke into the centre yet again and slaying a few more Orcs. The Rohan Royal Guard continued to battle the Orcs in the centre, neither side gaining the objective. However, back and forth the warriors fought, but with the support of Theoden and Gamling, the Royal Guard managed to uncover the objective. However, holding the objective was bittersweet. I was finding it near impossible to lay the killing blow across the battlefield. My Rohan warriors slowly began to fall. The dice gods definitely not on my side. Time and time again I failed to kill, but winning the duels. Knowing that victory meant getting my Royal Guard with the objective across the battlefield into my opponent's territory or beyond would secure the points I needed, yeah, it did seem quite an impossible task, I must say. I needed to slay a good number of Moran and Orcs, or at least defeat the Witch King, and yeah, it was taxing, very taxing as the battle continued. Now back to the centre. The Witch King again transfixed Éomer for a second time, and my word, transfix, what a very, very powerful spell. Éomer, a beast of a character, unable to support or even do anything in the battle so far, was grim, absolutely grim. The Witch King then, obviously finding chance to charge Theoden, and both of us used our heroic strike. But Theoden managed to gain the high roll, so this was it. Make or break. The dual die was cast by both of us, and as the dice danced around the table, seemingly to take an eternity, it finally landed on a 5. Pretty good, right? High hopes indeed. However, looking further afield, I see a grin on my opponent's face. Slowly casting my eyes down, I see a 6. Yep. My fate, or lack of it, was sealed. The Witch King flew towards Theoden, but managed to hold off the Witch King's Morgul blade, luckily. Dismounted, Theoden looked up and saw the gaping maw of the fell beast. As it was written, so shall it be. The fell beast devoured the king. Éomer's vision came to pass. Angered by this, he came out of his transfix and charged headlong into Orcs on the flank, but lacked the might to carry out his duty. Yep, failing to defeat or to beat 2 Orcs in a duel. Yeah, the dice gods were indeed not on my side. This now left Gamling alone fighting the Witch King. Yes, the joy. On top of that, Shagrat continued to defeat my Rohan riders. The troll again smashing down my Rohan riders. It was a bloodbath. A one-way bloodbath. In truth, my dice rolls. Wow, I've not rolled this bad in a long time. However, massive credit to my opponent, of course. Managed to, hold his ground, use excellent spells, timing, tactics, everything as well. So yeah, the battle continued back and forth, gambling in the centre, with very few Rohan Royal Guard left, and about 3 riders of Rohan too. It was, we decided to call it. It was a victory to Mordor. Now I must say, this battle was my 3rd battle, and even though yes, I got absolutely destroyed, it was such a good laugh. So many brilliant moments throughout the game. Again, it's one of the reasons why I just keep turning back to this game. It's such a great game system. I did tactically play very poor. If I was to be brutally honest with myself, the characters I should have done a lot more in terms of get them out front, charge, and Rohan, what am I doing keeping characters behind? Regardless, very poor positioning by me. However, if I did have the characters up front, charged headlong, the dice weren't still on my side. You just have those games, right? But regardless, it was such a great time, and again, massive credit to my opponent for using Transfix. I will not forget that. But yeah, so thank you all for watching. I do hope you're enjoying this Lord of the Rings content. Well, we're tempted to actually look to do a community campaign as well. So yeah, by all means, if this is something you're interested in or would like to get involved in or like to know more about, please let me know down in the description. If you have any tactics and warbands and equipment, everything that you can think of around Rohan or Mordor, just let us know down in the comments as well. That would be a massive help. But yes, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great day, take care, and let the dice tell the story.